Hey guys, this is not the story I wanted to come to you with tonight. Sorry, but it is what it is. I saw it and I had to. Trump and RFK Jr. to ban COVID-19 vaccine within months. War on Science. Tom Latcham, a close associate of the HHS secretary, claims the U.S. government will soon put C19 mRNA jabs from the market. This regime will move to pull the C19 vaccine off U.S. market within months. One of RFK Jr.'s closest associates has told the Daily Beast. Dr. Asim Malhotra, a British cardiologist who has repeatedly claimed in the face of scientific consensus that the vaccines are more dangerous than the virus, told the Daily Beast that Kennedy's stance is shared by influential members of Donald Trump's family. Like Kennedy himself, no Trumps hold any scientific qualifications, which is disturbing enough on his face when you think how dangerous this guy is. We are facing a public health crisis already, an emergent crisis that from hepatitis to plague to listeria. The screwworm is back, infecting cattle. Jeez, you know what a screwworm does? And the least of which, measles. And now this too. Yeah. This is one of the only things that Trump can actually take credit for, really, is, he wants to take credit for everything else, like the fucking bridge. He says he gave money to Westmore when that happened during Biden's administration, but okay, old man. He's always trying to take credit for everything. That's one thing he could take credit for, is this vaccine. Operation Warp Speed. But he can't, because these are the freaks and whack jobs that he has to rely on to support his ass. Because only freaks and whack jobs will be diehard supporters. Malhotra is a leading advisor to the controversial lobby group MAHA Action, which is seen as an external arm of Kennedy's agenda as Health and Human Services Secretary. He told the Beast that many of those closest to RFK Jr. have told him they cannot understand why the vaccine continues to be prescribed, and that a decision to remove it from the U.S. market pending further research will come within months, even if it's likely to cause fear and chaos and bring with it major legal ramifications. It could happen on a number of stages, including learning more about the data. You know about the data. The data's been out there. You mean planting more conspiracy theories? You mean coming out with more papers where you list the authors that don't exist? Or when you contact the authors, they didn't write that piece? Or they did write a piece, but they didn't give you permission, and it wasn't that piece? These people are as incompetent as they are corrupt. This becomes incredibly malevolent. The whole thing. So now there's an ongoing review into so-called vaccine injuries increased by the Advisory Committee on Immunization Practices. But given the increased talk of vaccine injuries in the past weeks among the administration, because you're talking about it, it could also come with one clean decision. Malhotra said skepticism among Kennedy's circle of the jab is driven by a 2022 paper by a group of physicians and university professors and researchers, which appeared in the journal Vaccine. The peer-reviewed paper examined a secondary analysis of serious adverse events reported in clinical trials of Pfizer, Moderna, mRNA C19 vaccines in adults, and said that those given the mRNA vaccines had a 16% higher risk of excess serious adverse events than those in the placebo group. However, the study has been dismissed by large parts of the medical community, who say it underestimates the benefits of the C19 vaccine and overstates the risks due to methodological flaws, biased data selection, and ignoring broader public health impacts. Malhotra was not among the authors of the study, but said that he presented its findings during a MAHA Action Team video meeting on July 9th, which was attended by senior aides to Kennedy. He claimed it caused a holy shit moment among many of those present, because their tinfoil hats just go bzz, bzz, bzz when you start talking about shit like this. You should know that. They do know this. Jesus. Malhotra is known to have the ear of RFK Jr., having first drawn his attention in September 22 when he published a paper in the Journal of Insulin Resistance on what he described as a misinformation about the C19 mRNA vaccine, which led to a television interview. And after he walked out of the studio, Malhotra said the first person to call was RFK Jr. He said, "I want to thank you for your courage." And the pair have since become close, because you're the only other motherfucker that feels that way. Anyway, they fell in love, and they go out, and they hike near the hills where Kennedy lives with his porn star wife. Isn't she porn? Anyway, whatever she is. This guy says, "I think Trump will get it because it's in his interest to get it." In his interest. So there's money involved in this somehow. There is money here. I know there is. The prediction of a drastic move against the C19 vaccine comes after Kennedy canceled here's some money, $500 million in funding for the development of mRNA vaccines. Such vaccines use a copy of a molecule called the messenger RNA, mRNA, to provoke an immune response against certain diseases. They have received much attention since the COVID-19 pandemic, where they served as the basis of most widely used SARS-CoV-2 vaccines. Days after canceling the funding, the HHS secretary, criticized for describing the jab as the deadliest vaccine ever made, stated during a press conference his beliefs that the mRNA C19 vaccine was dangerous and can cause injuries, including myocarditis, and inflammation of the heart that can lead to health issues ranging from fatigue to cardiac arrest. At the same time, the scientifically unqualified Kennedy scion wrongly claimed that there was no evidence football leads to brain damage. So these are the fucking people that we're dealing with. But vaccine skepticism took a sinister turn earlier this month when an anti-vaxxer opened fire on the CDC. We remember that, killing a cop. Investigators believe that the man targeted them over his hatred of the C19 vaccine. Thank you, Robert Kennedy Jr. Boom, you can hang that one on you. Apparently convinced he was sick or would become sick because of it. I already know. He was one of those people that had to take one to keep his job and go to work to protect others that he had to work around. And it makes sense. I can see how somebody might resent it a little, but that doesn't mean that it's not the right thing to do. But then this was also a whack job that couldn't afford mental health meds or didn't have the conviction to stay on them, and rough out the bad times and just got off the shit and is really sensitive to this kind of talk. This kind of bullshit right here. Earlier on Wednesday, more than 750 current and former staff members from the CDC, HHS, and National Institute of Health accused Kennedy of spreading dangerous misinformation that fueled mistrust and contributed to the CDC headquarters shooting, demanding by September 2nd that he stop, affirm CDC scientific integrity, and guarantee workforce safety. They also argued that Kennedy had jeopardized Americans' health and undermined the nation's readiness for public health crises. Yes. They wrote in a letter which was posted on the Save HHS site. They wrote, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is complicit in dismantling America's public health infrastructure and endangering the nation's health by repeatedly spreading inaccurate health information. What a mess, man. What a mess. It's all a mess. I'm sorry. I had to bring this to you. I get it. I don't want to know about it either, but we have to. Sorry. Love you guys.